Hey y'all, it's your girl Candace Lauren,
Hey, and it's Kimmy So Brooklyn here.
and we have a very special guest on another dating disaster. It's our girl Urban Spinster, Sadia, and she is joining our show today. So feel free to introduce yourself.
Thanks, ladies, for having me. I
Yes.
am Sadia Sanders, creator of Urban Spinster, which is a lifestyle brand, started out to be, and I've now kind of merged into a healthy single mindset coach, if you will. So that is what I'm trying to do with the brand, is to basically shift the mindset from thinking that if you're over 30 and single, that your life has ended, it's over for you. You need to just raise cats. That could not be further from the truth. So
Absolutely. And that's what definitely caught the attention, was because that's such a point that I think we forget, because we are almost defined by what our home life looks like once
yeah,
you're past 30. And I think it was your reaction piece to Tracy Ellis Ross.
yeah.
And I was just, that's when that's when you got me. And then, I started looking back at some stuff and what you have now, and the content is just amazing and so online and on brand with what we're trying to do also. So it was just great. It was just great to find you, really.
But I'm glad you found me.
Yes, yes.
So, what kind of inspired you to sort of start this? Was this kind of stemming from some of your maybe own anxieties, or maybe even sort of self-reflection of, no, you know what, I'm single and I'm fabulous?
I think it had more to do with the judgment that we face when we're past a certain age, because people just make assumptions a lot of times. And they say, well, where's your husband? Or, you're not seeing anyone. Well, why? What's going on? You're a nice looking woman, or blah, blah, blah. Or people just assume that you're married with children. When you're telling them you're not, then they want to hook you up with someone, or they're trying to find out, okay, well, what's really going on with her? It's just, they're just all in your business for no apparent reason. I mean, when I say strangers, I'm talking about the parking attendant at the garage where I work.
Mm.
No eres tu novio? No.
No way.
No, she's right about that. I've had my wax lady ask me. The most uncomfortable ones is really coming from my family, where I feel like they're trying to fish to see if I'm a straight woman or if I have an alternative lifestyle. And I'm just like, no, I just haven't met the right person.
Why do you care?
Right.
That's that point.
Right. And you can't be happy if you're by yourself, by the way. Like, there's no way you're happy. There's no,
Right.
you know what I mean? No way your life is fulfilling in any manner.
And most of the time it's because theirs is not fulfilling, or they bought into the ideal of marriage and kids and they're not happy. So if you're by yourself and you're happy, it's like, okay, well, how did that happen? Misery loves company too.
Right.
A lot of people want you to do what they want. I had a friend who was just marriage, and she had already had children. And so she really wanted that family, a father for her kids and all of that. But my parents are still married. What I notice about people like that is they come from homes where the mother and father maybe divorced early or never were married. And so they have this fantasy in their mind about what marriage and family looks like. My parents have been married over 40 years, and they were separated for about 9 years, got back together. So I've seen the ups, and I know what that looks like to actually do the work and go through your trials and tribulations. That's what marriage really looks like. So if you really don't want to do that work, then it's not for you. And the fantasy that you have in your mind about your wedding day, marriage is not your wedding day. Your wedding day is over.
Yeah, I heard marriage starts the day after your wedding. It's every day after the wedding.
Right. You spend all this money trying to impress who, and a lot of people that I know are divorced now.
But I mean, even, I hear what you're saying, because I do feel like sometimes I am that woman who didn't necessarily have the best childhood and, kind of want something better. If you know better, you do better. But not even that. Just how do we sort of overcome not even our own internal desire, but like you said, that societal desire, that societal push. And it seems that it's really weighed heavily on women in their 30s and 40s. I don't know if it's just tied to sort of our biology of what we can and cannot do.
It is.
Yeah, it is. It definitely. I mean, because that's just a fact. I mean, once you get past a certain age, you're not producing as much estrogen. Your eggs are not, as you're not as fertile as you once were. Now they're calling it a
Geriatric. Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's truth to that, but what does that have to do with the marriage piece of it? Because yes, ideally you want to have that nuclear family, but if you want to have a child, there's so many other ways that can happen. But the marriage part, the partnership, is I think what people get away from, and it's so transactional. It's like, okay, well, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? It's like, how are we partnering together? Are you going to be the person that if my parents have to move in with us, you're okay with that? And you're going to help me. Both my parents have had to do that. So I've seen that, if you don't have a partner, that's going to be a whole mess. And you may break up because, well, I don't want your mama living here.
and that's such a good point, because how do you do that? Why do you want to hook me up with a person? Why do you want me to combine lives with somebody else? And then all the things that come with that is not being discussed, like what you're saying, and it's like, how do you even begin to bring that up when somebody says it to you? Because it becomes one of those like snapbacks or clapbacks that people always are joking about now, but that's a real thing, and to both of your points, yes, it depends on whether or not your family has been together. My parents also over 40 years. So you see the work, right? You see the ebb and flow, you see the ups and downs, but then I can also see when somebody doesn't have that yes, they fantasize about it and they're like, no, I want this and that, not understanding, oh my gosh, there are some serious ups and downs. So it's almost like, thank you, I appreciate you thinking about me or thinking that I'm unhappy. But I think a lot of the times people are forgetting to say, wait, are you happy single? Right. That's good. I'm glad, because the assumption is that you are automatically like this bizarro, upset, dry, 40 cats having person, and you just want to say, I'm actually okay. And then people don't believe you. Then they're like, oh, okay.
So is this something that we should all be thinking about in our single season? Like, what do we want the next phase of our life to look like? And why do we want this to be the next phase of our life?
And that is such a good point. What do you want? Because so often we've been conditioned to want what other people want for us. So in your single time, when you don't have any distractions, it's like, what do I really like? You may want to have a partner and you live together and you don't get married, or you want marriage or you don't. Like I know I'm very anal. So when people even come over my house, I'm just like, okay, I'm ready for you.
I'm the same way. I'm like, even with my boyfriend, you're still here. Right. You haven't left yet.
Put my seat down. Okay, use a coaster. Take your shoes off. I mean,
Yeah, no, I get it.
That is a real thing, man.
You can be a little much for someone else. So I think there's someone for everybody, but definitely if you have childhood trauma, this is the time when you need to be dealing with that trauma so that you're not taking that into a relationship. Because of course, in our community, especially older generations, like our parents, they didn't do therapy back then.
Yeah.
Right.
So a lot of the stuff that they may have seen in their homes, they just brought it together and just created a bigger mess. So my parents have had to go to couples counseling and therapy, but they did that on the back end. They didn't do it
on the
initially. Right. So
and that's the preparation thing. And I think, and again, to emphasize what you're saying, like a lot of times people spend being single trying to figure out how to get coupled up versus saying, wait a minute, is a relationship what I want right now? I am a with the wind kind of a person. So it's like a lot of times I say to myself, Kim, do you really even want to be with anybody? I'm like, there's times I'm like, yes, but that's, it's raining outside. Or it's like, no, I actually really don't. I enjoy being able to get up and go or do whatever. And I have to, because you do, at the end of the day, out of respect, you have to say, I'm going somewhere. You got to explain to somebody what you're doing and why you're doing it, versus some people are like, I'm not going to tell him anything. Well, guess what, honey? That's not healthy. You know what I mean? Like, that's not. So people's like, oh, I'm still going to do what I want to do. No, you can't do
Like,
that.
well, why are you in a relationship?
Exactly. So I think people are not real with themselves about what it is, what it means to combine two lives and lifestyles. And so yes, you have got to do the work always.
Yep.
Are there other things that you suggest women or maybe even men should do in their single season? I know Kim just kind of spoke of therapy, and we were talking about self-reflection, but what are some other activities that you would say we should all embrace during single season?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I find with women is that we like to save things for special occasions. Well, I'm only going to go to Costa Rica with my man. I'm only gonna
I am so guilty of that. I will literally buy an outfit and be like, I'm going to wear this when I go to Paris.
Right.
I don't want one flight or anything like that, but
why do we do
we're
that?
in a pandemic. You see what's happening. You better
right.
do what you feel like you want to do. And it can be scary, especially solo travel, because I don't have a big friend circle, because most of my friends either have children or they're married. So they have to do that, kind of check in, or, oh no, I got to pay for the kids' tuition, or so on and so forth. They can't just get up and go like I can. So I have to make a decision. Am I going to sit around and wait for someone to go with, or am I going to try to find another friend group, maybe look into some travel groups of some other Black women that like to travel and get out and go, so that for safety reasons, if that's a concern of yours, then at least you have a group of people and it's a legitimate business.
Right.
The money, and they're going to, curate the experience. So just finding those things that you like, that you thought, well, I'm going to wait until I have a husband, until I do this, until I do that. I mean, buying a home, going back to school, starting a business, whatever those things are. You can't, I mean, it's hard.
Yes.
It's hard work. I would rather, and I'm dealing with a project right now in my backyard, I would rather have somebody else pay for that.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is exactly me. Anytime once something breaks down in my house, I'm like, why am I not married? Where is my husband to help me find this
might not be handy? Because there's a lot of men, they can throw money at stuff, but they can't fix it.
Right. Yep.
So you need a good, electrician, plumber, contractor, in your phone, at least if you're not dating somebody like that. But those type of things, I think we just are fearful of, and because we're judged so harshly for doing certain things by ourselves, that we just don't do it. And we just kind of like, well, I'll just wait, until XYZ happens. So that's something that I encourage single women to do, is kind of get out of your comfort zone. Even if, there's women that don't like to eat in a restaurant by themselves.
Yes, not me, but yeah.
I just started doing that.
I was gonna say I've been doing it, but I know Candace, that was a new thing.
It was new. It was new and hard for me, and I still haven't done dinner. I've only done lunch.
Sit at the bar. That is the best, because you meet people, you get to, talking, even if it's, not someone that you're going to see yourself in a relationship with. It's just nice to get out, talk to other people. You'll start, talking about the service, like, oh my God, do you believe this? But that's
I think people need to start putting enjoyment back into being single. Like, the stigma is that being single is like, again, a death sentence. And yes, there's some fun things that you can do, which I know, like you said, your lifestyle, you're trying to get into like single lifestyle and healthy single lifestyles. And I think that's so important, because there's so many people that don't believe that you can have those two at the same time, being happy and being single, without it being like, well, at least I could travel, at least I can get up and go, at least I don't have to. It's not about that. It should be, I'm able to do this, or I love doing that, or I enjoy doing whatever it is, and not making it so clapbackish. You know what I mean? So are there things that you do tell people, like, no, like mindset wise, that's like, no, you have to like start to look at things differently when you're embracing, so to speak, your singleness?
Yeah, because you are going to hear it. You're going to hear that judgment. And like you mentioned earlier, single season should be about you and trying to discover how you can be a better you for you, not for other people. So instead of, okay, well, I got to get on these dating apps, when's my next date coming or my next man coming, you're not doing any kind of internal work, because I had to step back and say, okay, why am I choosing these type of men?
Yes.
Or why am I attracting these type
That's
of men?
mine, attracting. I always ask that. Like,
like what is it about me that you feel like
you think you could come?
Right. But I've discovered that I was a people pleaser. And I learned, I was conditioned to be a people pleaser. And especially with women, you're taught to be the nice girl and to go out of your way for people, nurture other people, spend time with people that you don't care about. You know,
No, yeah.
Just so little stuff like, remember when we used to send school pictures to our family and stuff, or
sign the back
for so-and-so's house for, oh, well, go play with some, it's like, I think our parents just wanted a break. It was just like, just go over there, But you people please, and of course you want to please your parents as well. But if you get into a situation where you're kind of being manipulated, it's like, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to be upset with you. You take that into your relationships. So even though you're feeling intuitively red flags, or you're seeing stuff, you kind of just brush it off, because people will tell you you're too picky. Oh, girl, you can fix that. He just needs a good woman. You can just, oh, that's all. Oh, but if that's not what you're feeling for yourself, it's okay to say no, thank you, or to stop talking. I have gone back to guys that I got away from,
right,
because I was like, well, maybe it was me. Well, maybe I just didn't give them a chance, and then you'll hear well, you have more opportunities than than an average person when you want someone that's kind of on your same financial or educational level. And you say, well, no, he didn't read, or
no, read, that's a basic requirement.
Or read for pleasure, or kind of limited as far as his point of view. Oh, girl, you can fix that. And you hear that so often that you start believing it.
Right. And you start to question yourself, and you start to feel, lesser than, because somebody's like, oh no, you should be able to, why can't you do this? Or what's wrong with you? Or it's like reel it in. I'm doing all right. It's just, I'm not meeting the people that match me. That's all.
So, and so how do we silence these people? How do we silence the people who sort of push this stigma on us, whether it's, your parking attendant or my grandma? Like, what are we saying to these people to sort of take back our power?
I'm trying to think if there's anything specifically I said to my parents, because they weren't really pushy. My dad would ask me, was I seeing anyone? But I never got the, well, I want some grandkids, or anything like that, because they kind of saw what was out here. It's like, because
that's actually what silenced my mom. She was like, okay, I get it. I'm sorry.
Right. And so they have to kind of see. But if it's someone that you don't really care that much about, like your neighbor or, whoever, it's just like, girl, have a seat. I'm good. I just had to tell my neighbor, she invited me to her husband's birthday party at her home. And we have a few single women in the community. And she was like, I always like to invite the single women because you guys are by yourselves. I was like, do you think we don't have shit to do?
Right.
And they think that we are just these women with these cats just
at
looking
the house,
at the window.
right?
Yeah,
right. And I had a pit bull. Okay, so like I'm good, So, but I mean, yeah, I would want, and I posted something recently about complex thought. You can enjoy being single and still want to be in a relationship. You just don't want to settle for just anything, because you've seen where settling has gotten you, especially if you're over 30. You've been through some stuff already. So it's like, no, I'm not going back there. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not disturbing my peace, because every time I've been pulled back in, I'm just like, what?
I regret it. Yep. Same. I'm like, what was I thinking?
And you remember, you're like, no, I knew this was not what I wanted.
Like, I knew I should have stopped at 30. Should have stopped at 32. Damn, I'm 34. What was I thinking? It just keeps going.
But when they come back after like 5 years and you kind of forgotten, or you're thinking, oh, well, we're older now, we're more mature, maybe he's changed. People don't change that much.
I like what you said about how your girlfriends kind of painted you as a picky person, because I get that all the time from Kim, even some of my other friends that are saying that I'm too picky. So how do you sort of combat that?
I already know what I've been through, not being picky enough or second guessing myself. So it's just like, it's not worth it to me. The only person that is living your life with you day to day in your house is you.
Yeah, I rebuke picky. I think 30s and 40s is when you are afforded the ability to be picky, because you don't know who you are at 20. You don't know who you might like at 20. You don't know what you're willing to deal with because you haven't lived life. At 30 and 40, if you're not picky, I'm worried about you. You know what I mean? Because then you're still accepting any and everything, and you can't. You know what I mean? So picky that's fine. That's fine. Kim, your standards are too okay. Thank you. That's fine with me. Right. That's it. Because then you settle, they'll be the first one to be like, that wasn't really your taste anyway. I knew that wasn't going to work out or something. And you're like, bye. I cannot.
One of the things that you also kind of brought up was that it's okay to be in this single season and still want love and, embrace the idea of love. But I also feel like for a lot of women, when we exit our single season, we become all about the man or all about the husband or all about the kids. How do we, I guess, still have that sort of single season empowerment, but be in a relationship?
And, it goes back to that conditioning too, where we are taught to put everyone else before ourselves. At some point, your kids are going to grow up and leave the house. Hopefully, if you raise them to be independent, they're going to leave. Your husband may have his own circle of friends or his own hobbies and things that he likes to do. So then what's going to happen if there's no one else there and you haven't figured out who you are and what you like?
Right.
So you kind of have to think of it that way. It's like you need your own life in tandem with your spouse. He has his friends, you have your friends, you come together here and there, but his hobbies, likes or dislikes don't dictate your every move. There was a lady, she made a comment on someone's TikTok video. I forgot what it was about, but it was travel. And she said, well, my husband doesn't like to travel. So basically she was going to have to wait until he died.
All right, bye, honey.
I was like,
pick me up from baggage claim.
Right.
Okay, he doesn't want to go. So you're just going to sit at home and watch everyone else's life on social media. I found that so sad.
It is sad.
It's weird too, because we actually did an episode a couple weeks ago, Kim and I, and we talked about dating someone that has similar interests. And I remember Kim calling out that she wouldn't even date a man who didn't travel or didn't want to travel or wasn't even considering a passport. So I think that should have been like a separate conversation sis had even before she said I do, because that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's what we were talking about too. Like getting to know like in your singleness, maybe getting to know who you are and what you're willing to deal with and the type of person that you are hoping to attract. Like you should be attracting somebody that likes to travel. Maybe they're in the travel groups. Maybe they're in the same, boards online or whatever and having these discussions. So you're busy not being true to you when you can accept somebody or marry somebody that doesn't share one of your major interests, and it's not about finding somebody that likes every single thing you do. Like there are things that men are going to do that you love to do that they hate and vice versa, but we have to still be willing to know what we're willing to accept and what we're not, you know what I mean? And again, you have to appreciate when you are single and knowing who you are
and have your own hobbies. I mean, I don't like football. So if the guy likes to watch ESPN every day, highlights, and that's just
every game.
I don't do gaming. No. If you have your man cave and you kind of, that's your downtime or your woosah time, you want to do that, and then we kind of come together and do our thing, that's fine too. But right. I don't bowl. I'm not in the bowling league. I'll go and cheer you on, but I'm not gonna be in the bowling alley every week.
Right.
So, but those are, you get to know what you like and don't like when you're single, and decide, what you want to deal with in its totality, even around men who have children. I don't know why I didn't have any point of reference for this thought, but when I was in high school, I said, oh, I don't want to date a man with kids. I don't know where that came from. I didn't know anybody that was dating a man with kids in high school.
In high school, right.
I don't know why I said that. But then, as you know, of course, as we get older, your choices become, a lot slimmer, dating people without children if you don't have children already, which I don't. But so I said, okay, well, let me try it. But of course, when I was in my 20s, these guys had babies or, toddlers, and that just has a whole
totally different,
going on. So I know now I can only do one baby mama and no more than 2 kids, both kids by the same woman, because I don't want to deal with all that estrogen and all that foolery. And their kids need to be at least in high school. All that, okay, well, because you don't really have the time to nurture a new relationship, because you really should be focusing on your children if they're 2 and 4 and 5, those formative years. That's where your focus should be, not trying to get with me. So, and especially if they're really good dads and they're very attentive, they're not going to really have time for you. You're going to be on the back burner.
Yep, tried that. Definitely tried that, and just recently kind of ended that too, because he was a football dad, and I mean, always with them. Oh, I got practice, I got this, and I respected it fully. But you have to let it go too, because it's like you will not fit anywhere, and there's no, oh, let's try to do this or make it work, or like last minute will not work.
Or you're gonna be at the games in the bleachers with them.
Right.
I do want to spend some time, because I know we're sort of wrapping up. I do want to spend some time talking about that guided journal for single women. Mm-hmm. When I saw that on your page, I was like, oh my goodness, why haven't, we thought about, I didn't, even in my single season, that's not something that I, even thought about until I seen on your page. I don't know, share a little bit about the guided journal, what we should be doing. I know we kind of touched base upon it on the call already, but love to get, dig deeper into that.
Sure. So there are 5 different topics, and they're digital. So it's not like this hard copy journal with blank pages that you're just going to write. So each topic, I'm giving you my experience based around that topic. So whether it's money and being a single person, whether you want to buy a home as a single individual, your lifestyle, whether that means travel or just eating alone or trying to find friend groups, things like that, relationships, of course, being single. So I'm giving you like my experiences, real life experiences, how I've handled certain things, especially around money, relationships, lifestyle, and ownership, because of course, a lot of single women feel like that, again, with the waiting until I have a partner, because, I can't possibly afford this. So just going a little deeper into those, and then giving you some exercises. Okay, well, can you write out some things that you think that you want to do, that you saved or you've been saving at this time? What are those things? What are your anxieties around being single, not being in a relationship, and that judgment that you might be getting from friends and family? Because it may be time for you to change your friend circle.
Yep.
If people are making you feel bad just about existing, then it may be time to change that friend circle altogether.
When I was going through it, one of the things that stuck out really for me was buying the home, because I did have anxiety. I kept saying, I'm not going to buy a home until I get married. I kept saying that year after year. And then, I guess 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I was just like, wait, what if I never get married? Mm-hmm. And that was sort of like this aha moment for me to make me go out and buy a home. Like I shouldn't have to wait for my happily ever after. I can just purchase it now. And I ended up buying a home. And I, what you were saying, I get frustrated too when it's something in the yard that needs to get done, or, like the other day with my boiler, that was frustrating. But you know, even despite some of the anxieties that I experience daily, it still feels good to just have something that's mine, and knowing that I didn't wait for a man to do this.
Right.
That I just went ahead and did this on my own. So when I was going through the journal, I was really amazed. And I was actually even speaking to Kim about that before you joined, was, you know, to have a woman who sort of lays out this blueprint for other women who are potentially experiencing the same things, and may not even think other women are, because like I said, the home buying was my anxiety, waiting for the man, staying in that waiting period, so to speak.
And people think not just because it's a man, but the income. I live in LA. It's very expensive to live here. I've had to have a full-time job and 2 side hustles and all of that. So, I mean, I really hate when we see on social media, the single life is just, we're going to brunch and we're shopping and we're traveling.
Right.
Because where's the money coming from?
Right. We're doing DoorDash too, sis, because I know I am.
Yeah, where is the money coming from? So, I mean, if you do want to buy a home, and actually it just puts you in a better financial position when you are to get married, if that's something that you desire. Right. And now you have this property. I had asked some people, and I put it on my podcast, would you allow a man to move into your home that you bought, you know, when you were married? And or put him on the deed, let's say, because he can move in, but is he going to be on the deed to your house?
Not at all. And you're getting a prenup.
You know, so it's those kind of things that you have to think about as well. But for me in renting, I had rented twice before I bought my first home, and just having to wait on someone to fix stuff, and they're going to do it in their time, and they're going to spend the kind of money they want to spend. So they'll hire whomever. Stuff might not get done right. I remember I came home several times and I had no hot water because the landlord didn't want to properly fix the water heater, but yet he's building on his home around the corner and up the hill. You know? And it's just kind of like, oh my God, somebody was mad at him and they wanted to put stuff down the sink and just created this flood with everybody else. I was like, I'm done. Right. I can't do this anymore. Like, whatever I need to do, I gotta have my own place. Yeah. I can't do it. So that's really what it was for me versus, you know, well, let me wait until I get married and have that second income, because that doesn't guarantee anything. No. If you get with someone that is not financially stable or responsible, they don't pay their bills on time, they have bad credit, you know, then you're gonna be waiting again. Anyway, you're gonna be
always gonna be in this waiting period of life.
So that's
right. And your identity is not based on, you know, the MRS. You know what I mean? Like, you are who you are, and you should be able to stand in what you want to do and when you want to do it, and you know, and that just be it. I think a lot of the times, yes, I myself included, I did it even today. Like, there's a place that I saw, I was like, oh, I can't wait to go on vacation, or a vacation, and I'm like, man, you might just have to go by yourself. So it's like, it's okay to post the pictures by yourself. You don't have to, you know, go with anybody else.
You know, if you want to. You know?
Well, I know we're sort of running out of time, but definitely before we, you know, head out, we kind of talked about this earlier in the call. We always do a segment called He Did What, where we ask all of our guests to share sort of their worst dating experience.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story. So I was dating this guy. I had several mishaps, which is, you know, we were talking about, okay, I should have
done
the first time, and, you know, not even tripped about who was going to say what about it. I should have followed my first mind. But I was getting my nails done one evening, and I get this call from my boyfriend at the time, and he's all in distress. And he's like, you know, can you come pick me up? I forget where he was. And I'm just like, what is going on? So I pick him up, and he had been jumped, beaten up, I won't say robbed, but so the backstory to this incident was something that he did. And this was the street justice that he received. Gotcha. So here's someone that's not responsible. And he lived in a building where, and this is back in the days when we were still listening to CDs. So he had this hustle of burning CDs, from the original and then selling the copies. So he was using the computer to burn the CDs of a neighbor of his. The neighbor was a drug dealer. So they had a barter agreement. The agreement was, I'll let you use my computer if you get me and, my workers a cell phone plan, a family plan. I guess maybe they didn't have credit. I don't know. So he does this and they're paying him to pay the bill. All he had to do was just orchestrate getting the plan. He doesn't pay the bill on time. Not once, but twice.
Oh.
So they're like, well, we're giving you the money and our phones are getting cut off. This is how we make our money, by phone. Like, what you need.
Right.
And so they proceed to jump him and whip his ass and pistol whip him. Oh. And then he couldn't go back to living in the building.
No.
Because you're going to keep running into him.
Right.
So where does he go?
Oh, no, not that. No.
I pick him up off the street. We got to be doctoring up the wounds. He stays with me for like a couple of months until I was like, okay, I need you to get your own place.
Right.
But it was a whole mess. But see, I had an inkling that he was irresponsible prior to this incident, and I could have been like, before I caught any feelings, one and done. Like, you know what? This ain't gonna work. And I did that and then went back because I felt guilty. That goes back to the people pleasing.
Mm.
So we gotta, we did another episode. I'm gonna have to send you the link on quick to dismiss. We gotta be better at, being quick to dismiss. At the first red flag. I mean, we see the memes online; they're everywhere. So
right, we just gotta let them go. We gotta let them go. We don't have the time anymore to be messing around with these guys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we definitely don't have the time at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I barely wait for the red flag. If I see I'm cutting you off. Like, oh, this looks red.
Right.
Like, no, it's a pink flag. No, but it's gonna turn red. It's gonna turn red. Well, there it is. Thank you so much. We got Urban Spinster joining us today. I'm your girl, Candace Lauren.
Kimmy So Brooklyn here. Thank you so much, Sadia. That was awesome.
Before you go, shout out your Insta handle. I don't know if you did that at the beginning, but your Insta, your website, Facebook, let people know where they can find you.
All social media is at Urban Spinster XO, and that is TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. My website is urbanspinster.com. So as mentioned, you can find the Single Woman's Agenda, which are the guided journals with the 5 topics. I have merch available there, and my podcast is Urban Spinster as well, anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Any fun story behind how you got the name?
Not really. I don't know. I mean, the spinster thing, and let me say this, because a lot of people don't even know what a spinster really is. That word is an old English word that was a profession. So a woman who would not marry or did not marry at like whatever the age was back then, it could have been 12 for God knows. But
seriously, no, it was
Yeah. If you didn't have a husband, that was the only thing that you could do to earn a living, was spinning thread, like those big spinning wheels.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why it was. That's why I was wondering. I was like, I know exactly what it was. I don't even know. I don't even remember why I learned it, but I was like, does she know why she has that?
I mean, but of course, society has turned that into old maid.
Yes.
Because it was an unmarried woman who had that profession, but that was how she supported herself. So really, a spinster is a boss, really.
The woman makes her own money. There it is.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.